Hi there, this is Victor with World VTech Technologies, and today I'm making another video just to show you how to hook up your two-wire internet router from AT&T to your DVR so you can watch the images anywhere through the internet. First of all, you need to hook up your router to the basics hookups. The phone line through that green wire that you see. The yellow wire corresponds to my computer, the one that I'm going to be using to set this up with, and can actually be going into port 1, 2, 3, or 4. And of course we do have the power supply on the bottom right there. Now that we have my computer, my power, and of course my internet hooked up already, so since I already have my computer hooked up to it, the only thing that I need to do is by using another Cat5 wire, connect my DVR to the router. So there it is. And that's it when it comes to the router. And now we come to the DVR to hook it up. We got our mouse, and this is the back of my DVR. We got our power supply. We got our Cat5 blue cable that is coming from our router. There's an USB where the mouse is connected to, a VGA where our monitor is connected. Then we do have an HDMI output right there, which actually works. And then we have our camera, our only camera that we're going to be using today, so we can set this up to be able to watch the video on the internet. Okay, for our next step, we need to find our router's address. To do that, we go on Windows 7. You have to type the command run to look for it. It's all the way on top. On Windows XP this look a little different because the command run is right around here. So Windows 7 run, and all the way on top you click on it and type CMD, which take you to the command prompt. This is gonna look different on your computer, but don't worry about that, because what we need is the command prompt right there, and type the word IP config. Push enter. Once again, on Windows XP is only going to give you this data over here, which is more than enough, because what we actually need is these numbers right here. Please close attention to the last digits on here, because that's the highest number on your router, and this is one of the lowest number. I know that for a fact. Mine is actually 65. So this number is going to remain the same, the front numbers, but the last 3 digits are different, and that's very important. So go ahead and save these numbers for your subnet mask and your default gateway. Those are the numbers that we're going to need from this page. We're back to our DVR setting now. The screen that you're watching is a screen coming out of the DVR. So we can do some settings over here. So here we are with my DVR. And what I'm doing over here is going to the main menu. It's going to ask for my credentials. Click OK. And now it's going to let me into my main menu. Now you need to look for your network settings. And it's on this tag right here. Network. And your screen is probably going to look something similar to this. So we are in the network settings for the DVR. Make sure that DHCP is not enabled, so it's not selected. And in my case, I'm working with a wire net card through my Cat5. My IP address for this DVR is going to be the same IP addresses that I get from the router, the numbers that you first got, except for the last digit. There's 4 sections of digits over here. The last digit is going to be selected by me. So go ahead and put the numbers over here, the ones that you got from the IP configuration page. In my case, there were 192, 168 for the second set, 1, and this number I'm gonna put it outside the range of the gateway. My gateway over here goes from 65 to 254, which is the last number that the router uses. So let's put something out of that range, out of the 65 or the 254. I'm gonna use 44. Media port, you can actually leave these numbers over here and use them, but I recommend not to. So instead of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I'm going to use 45, 6, 45. Instead of 80 on the HTTP port, in my case, I'm going to use 88, 88. And that's it. You have configured your network on the DVR to use these numbers, and don't forget to write them down because you're going to need them really soon when we go and configure the port forwarding on the router. So after you have finished, you're going to push OK, and you must do a restart for those numbers to log into the DVR. So we go here, logo out, and in my case, reboot. Okay, so after getting those numbers, you're gonna have to open your browser. In this case, I do have Internet Explorer. When I have the browser open, I'll input over here on my search browser, I'm gonna input the number of my router, which is my gateway number, and I push enter, and I'm gonna set up the router so it can communicate with the DVR and let it go on the internet. So I'm going to settings, firewall, and once again I got to remind you, this is where your screen may look different than mine, where I'm going to applications, pinholes, and DMZ. Yours may say something like port forwarding. The first step over here is asking me for which of these devices I'm going to be using. In my case, I'm trying to add something to this address, which is the address that I assign to the DVR. So I put choose. I go to the second step, making sure that that new address is there. And down here, I'm gonna add a new user-defined application. It's gonna take me to a page like this, and I'm gonna put a name to my application, which is DVR www. The ports I'm using are, for media port, 45645, and the range, just put it the same, 45645. Make sure the numbers match. This is my TCP. I'm gonna add the same number to this for the same port to UDP. So just go add to list, and it's gonna say configuration successful. I'm going for the UDP for the same port that I just added, which is 45645, 45645, and you add to list. Configuration successful. Now I'm gonna add my next port, which is 8888, and the range, TCP port 8888 to range 8888. Add to list, and now I'm going for the UDP 8888 and add to list. I'm gonna go all the way down to make sure that I have those ports added. Now I push back button, and by selecting my IP address, the one that I'm working on, 192.168.1.44, I go all the way down, and on the application list I just created, the user defined that I just created, which is DVR www, and add it. So that's it. I got my DVR right there with a new application added that is called DVR www, and that's about it. There's nothing else to set up over here except just to get out and start testing these numbers.